Wake up in the morning in the moonlight gray. We got dirt to break, we got a note to pay. I'm gonna plow to the end of the road. I'm gonna wake up in the morning and plow to the end of the road. Down to the kitchen with my feet still bare. Children to the table, Papa say a prayer. I'm gonna plow to the end of the road. Down to the kitchen, got to plow to the end of the road.
We had that tobacco there at home and had no help to get it in the barn, just my mother and daddy, and me and my middle sister, which is a little older now. We missed 3 solid weeks of graded school to get that tobacco in the barn. And we wasn't the only kid that done that. That's just the difference in then and today. But you went on through that thing, and the base would be up one year and down the next, which have you. But at that time, everybody in the country growed tobacco. And it was a family affair, and them was the days that you sold tobacco and bought the kids shoes to go to school with and this and that. I've grown tobacco all my life, and it would be a complete turnaround if I done differently. To say that I'd starve to death if I wasn't growing tobacco, but I'd have to change my lifestyle to some extent. You know how that just grows on and on. One thing calls something else. And we used to have just a few dollars for a telephone bill. Now, every time I add it all up, now you're paying $100 telephone bill. Years ago, electricity wasn't very high, and that runs into money. Gas used to be 20, 30 cents a gallon. Now it's $1.20, 30, 40 cents a gallon. And it's got to come from somewhere, and I'm not sure where, if they cut me out on tobacco, that it would come. I grow this tobacco like as an old feller used to make moonshine whiskey. He said he made it to sell. He didn't make it to drink. So that's the way this tobacco, it's a way of living, and I've raised two kids grown, and still had to pay a lot of my bills with tobacco, and they play it out. Well, I'll just have to do something else. But any way you go, I'm hearing lots of people saying this is going to be their last year of grow tobacco. We've grown it for nothing, really. Growing it for nothing.
Sun just broke out over the trees. I got a aching in my back and a trembling in my knees. If the mule won't pull and the plow won't go, if the seed don't set, then the crop won't grow. Chickens to the market, 7 miles to town. Gotta make it home before the sun goes down. Big storm coming, I can see it in the sky. I hope it don't rain before the clothes get dry. I got rocks in my shoes and dirt in my eyes. Work like a dog till the day I die. You got to plow to the end of the road. I got rocks in my shoes when I plow to the end of the road.
I'm Kathy Williams. I'm Ray's daughter-in-law. I met Clay when I was 16 and started helping out as they needed help, and I'm just here if they need me.
Do you think a lot of people still grow tobacco in Allen County as much as they did, say, 10 years ago?
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. I think it's a dying way of life. It's a good way of life because, I mean, here we've got Ray, Jessica's grandfather, Clay, Jessica's dad, me, Jessica's mom, and Jessica, and then Jackson, our little nephew, all out here together. You know, you can't beat something like that. Those are memories Jessica and Jackson will have for a lifetime, or I think. Yeah, and it's a lot of hard work, but it's, you know, you make the best of it. Like right now, just sitting around having a sandwich, talking. You know, it's fun. Not the setting tobacco part, but being with family part.
Fungus comes on it called blue mold, and that's what it's to control. So that herbicides, pesticides, fungicides, fertilizer. gets on it, and it's a blue mold on the bottom leaf of the tobacco, and it steals all the nutrients, and it'll kill the whole crop. It'll wipe the crop out. It's expensive to prevent, but if you get it, it's a disaster. It can wipe out your entire crop. So it's just like it's insurance. You're just putting insurance in the tank.
How much do you think y'all spend on these chemicals each year?
Oh, Dad would have to tell you that, but it's in the thousands. And Dad, he's a firm believer in them. He uses the max of. Some people get by without using any to have your plants take roots. It'll just make these plants when they put into the loose soil. It'll help that root.
Sue Houchins. I'm 51. I was born in Boyle County, Kentucky, and that's in the bluegrass region. And I guess my first memories of raising tobacco were going to my grandmother's. And what you remember is that there's always 100 kids there and about 1,000 people, and all of the women are in the kitchen cooking this big meal, and they put it out on a big wagon, and the men will come in from the field. She had a big old dinner bell that she rung, and all the men would come in, but the men got to eat first. All of us kids had to wait, and we were like starved to death. But the men ate first, and then the women ate, and then us kids ate last. And that was sorry. You know, farmers around here, most of the time inherited their land. Well, they were small farms. Well, you can just run so many cattle. You can just milk so many cattle. Of course, by that time, they had implemented all the rules and regulations about dairy farming, and you had to have these big buildings and fancy equipment and everything, so most people had to quit milking, so that you had to have something to make a living. And I've got papers, if I could find them, I have no idea where they're at, but I've got them packed away somewhere, of Tobe's father's grocery bills for the whole year up here at Foster's store, and they would pay them off when they sold the tobacco. So that, I mean, people had to do it. And whenever Joe David was real young, he would go cut tobacco all day long, and they would pay him $4 or $5. Now, you're lucky to get somebody $8 an hour. That's the reason people are quitting the tobacco industry. But, you know, in thinking back, it's so hard, but I guess there's so many good times and funny times. And just like all of the cooking, and, you know, you always had just, you'd cook 2 or 3 different kinds of meat, and, you know, whatever vegetables you had, and everybody would just eat and have the biggest time and sit out underneath the shade trees. And we had one boy one time, poor little old thing. He never really got very much to eat. And we come to the house and we ate dinner. It's Rogers, it was. We ate dinner, and he ate, and he ate, and he ate. Well, we went back to the tobacco patch. It wasn't 5 minutes till he was gone. He's just disappeared. Everybody got to saying, "Where's Roger? Where's Roger?" Well, he couldn't hear very good, so we were all up there on the hill hollering, "Roger, Roger," because we thought maybe he'd passed out somewhere, you know, it was so hot. Come find out, one of the boys found him. He was down over the hill. He had taken diarrhea where he eats so much. Well, here he was. Well, he hollered up there and told one of the boys, said, "Is there any toilet paper in the truck?" He said, "I don't know, Roger, I'll go see." Well, he went up there, and of course, we didn't have anything like that. He went back down there and he said, "You'll just have to use some leaves, Roger. I ain't got no toilet paper." Roger, he was a cussing and carrying on. Well, he finally got himself straightened up, and he come back up there. We cut about 2 more rows of tobacco, and he disappeared again. It was that way all afternoon. I mean, about every 20 minutes, he had to go down over the hill. Well, whenever Joe David got ready to pay him, he said, Roger, he said, let's see, you'd worked 20 minutes and you were off 20 minutes. Yeah. And so Roger thought Joe David was going to cut his pay for him having to go to the bathroom so much, but Joe David didn't do that.
My name's Wilma Clark, and the name of the store is Uncle Pete's Corner Market.
How long has it been here?
Well, the store itself's been here since 1946, but I've owned it since 1996, I'm sorry. 66 would be a long time, wouldn't it? My husband and I bought it in August of 1996.
So would you say the majority of your lunch crowd are farmers? And
Predominantly, yes.
is it busier this time of year because of tobacco?
Oh, absolutely. Huge change. It's, you know, since the tobacco quotas have been cut back, you know, most of my business this time of year were people working in tobacco, and we don't have that anymore. You know, we have some, but not near as much as we used to.
What tobacco means to me, well, it's been my livelihood for years, but it's getting less and less all the time. Lease prices got higher, and it's they're just putting us out of business. That's what's happening. My grandfather grew tobacco. I grew tobacco when I was growing up, and then my grandfather had tobacco, and then I farmed with him, and then he died in '85, and I bought the family farm, and I just kept doing the same old thing ever since. I have a son and a daughter.
You think either one of them will grow tobacco?
No, sir. They're smart. I don't encourage them to grow it. My son had a crop 2 years, get him some money to buy a car, and when he got that done, he said, I'm through. He's got a job down at the factory, Country Oven. I can't blame him. He makes more money than I do. Has some benefits and insurance, which I don't. I have to pay out of my own pocket. And I didn't encourage him to farm because there's not, you know, it's a good life. I love it, but they're better off doing something else to get some benefits and stuff. What will I do with the money? Pay some bills. Hopefully have a little left, buy something you want. Tobacco's put more kids through school and through college and bought more automobiles than anything that we've ever had on the farm. Because you can get a pretty good little amount of money at one time. I'll tell you this one, I heard a guy say one time, he said, he went to the doctor and he said, you're gonna have to quit smoking. He said, that smoking is gonna kill you. He said, Doc, said that smoking won't kill you. He said, that cutting and housing is what'll kill you.
Debbie Hunt, Smiths Grove, Kentucky, Three Forks area.
Talk to us a little bit about what tobacco means to you.
Honestly, it's a pain in the neck.
All right.
I work at the Farm Service Agency, so you know I work with a lot of these people that are here.
Why do you do it?
We own the pounds, and my husband's always done it, so I just kind of inherited that. I married into the tobacco way of life.
What does this day mean to you?
Vacation. The children helped us, so they were motivated so that we could go to Florida, I don't know, maybe in a couple of weeks. When my husband's laid off from his construction job, which he had to start because tobacco's been cut so much. So, you know, we're just looking forward to having some together time, you know, as a family.
Willard Cole, And I have about 20 years experience, I guess, in this business. I retired in '84 and May the 15th and went to work that fall in the tobacco business, and this is my 20th year. So.
What does tobacco mean to you, Willie?
A whole lot. I probably have been participating in raising tobacco for 50 years or more. And I missed 2 crops while I was in service. And other than that, up till 5 or 6 years ago, I still have tobacco, but I don't raise it. I lease it out. Someone else raises it. And, but it's been a livelihood for me. That's what it mainly means. And the sad part is it looks like it's dwindling fast. I'm predicting, and of course my predictions is not too good, but another 5 years, Ray, and it'll be over. One way or the other, we'll either have a buyout or we'll just lose all of our base through allotment cuts. And it's kind of like the old saying, they can win the war and never fire a shot. They just keep taking our base every year, and they finally take it all. Then you got nothing to
know what, you guys?
I'm Bob Brandon, owner and manager of this warehouse. Been coming out here 43 years. I really live in Georgia, but I'm in warehouse business in Georgia and warehouse business here. It's everything. It's my livelihood. It's everything that I educated 4 kids with tobacco, and thank goodness they've all turned out real well. Everything I've got, I guess I owe to tobacco, and I certainly hate to see them trying to do away with it. Of course, now they're importing so much tobacco and demanding that we compete with Zimbabwe, Malawi, Brazil, and Argentina. We can't. Their governments are subsidizing the farmers. And the minute we lose our price support, I think we're going to be out of business in the United States as far as producing tobacco, because I don't think we can compete with Zimbabwe. I mean, I saw some tobacco, 5 million pounds in Brazil in the box, ready to go into cigarettes for 80 cents. Now, I can't compete with that. Maybe some of these farmers think they can, but they can't either. So as I see it now, we'll be completely out of tobacco business in the United States if this buyout comes through and has no price support. So,
what will you miss most about it when it's gone?
Well, my customers to me are my friends. And I've got some people that have been selling tobacco with me 43 years. And I come out, and I ride, and I visit them, and I enjoy doing that. I enjoy seeing the people. I enjoy having them around me, trying to help them when they need help. And I've really been concerned, and my son says I look for things to worry about, but I probably got 20 young farmers in their early 30s, late 20s, that are working 2 public jobs and raising 15 to 17,000 pounds of tobacco. And they've come to me and said, Mr. Bob, when they take this tobacco, I use my tobacco to make my farm payment. I'm going to lose my farm when they take this tobacco. But none of the politicians, it doesn't seem to bother them a great deal. I'm sorry. So I don't know what's going to happen.
Is anybody on your side?
No, just the tobacco senators and congressmen, because tobacco is a very popular thing politically to jump on, and nobody's going to say a thing in the world to you about it, okay? I was hoping maybe the liquor people would jump in and help us, because the minute they get rid of us, the liquor people are next. They're coming after them, and the fast food people. Universal Diamond 94 hail 91 2 3 Diamond.
Said young